Oh crap, what did I do? Nothing. What's up and welcome to another video. I hope you're ready to get your language skills upgraded, because this one we're talking about Rosetta Stone and using the app to get fluent in a foreign language. No need for a longer introduction. Let's get this language knowledge. How do we do that? So recently, Rosetta Stone, I can say it's recently. So in the past couple years, Rosetta Stone came out with its own app. So everybody knows about Rosetta Stone by this point. It was really the pioneer of all the language learning software at home. And when it first came out, it was one of those computer programs that was used by the FBI, the CIA, and different Fortune 500 companies to help teach their employees how to speak the foreign language where they would be doing business. And so for many years, it has been the touted king of the foreign language software. And since then, a lot of other entities have popped up and they've offered their own foreign language strategies, and Rosetta Stone is still out there, still fighting, still hanging on. So what they did was, in the recent years, they've created their own app that's available to use and is actually in tandem with their computer software that they still supply to this day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the software with you, just like I did with Duolingo, and show you how the app works, show you how a lesson looks on your phone, and how you can use Rosetta Stone, the app, to push your language skills further. So let's get right into this, shall we? Let me record the screen. Rosetta Stone has always touted itself as to being the app that does dynamic immersion, which is essentially like saying that it puts you into a position or a state of learning that's exactly as if you are in the nation that the language is being spoken in. And for the most part, I can say it does an effective job at that. I feel like there aren't many other softwares or language learning applications that do that same effect, and it's one of those things to where it's not just a direct translation to translation type situation. With the app, there is a functional element of learning the language without seeing it directly translated. You really have to use those same sort of synapses that you use when you learned your first language. It's just, it seems a little bit more difficult being older because you're being cognitive in the fact that you're doing it. When we were younger and we were learning our language, we weren't thinking about a goal or a certain level of success. We were just learning it because we had to learn it to communicate. And then when you're learning your second, third, fourth, or fifth language, it kind of starts to feel a little bit like you're always measuring yourself in some way. And so I think Rosetta Stone does the best that it can to get you into a sort of childlike state of learning a language, which sometimes can be stressful. I'll just put that out there. But so you open the app, and I do have to say that one of the cons about using Rosetta Stone, and one of the cons that it's always had, is that it's not free. And I can tell you, the first time I used Rosetta Stone, the first time I bought it, I bought the computer software, and it was not cheap. It used to be they used to break it up into 5 levels, and I think each level would be $125 or something like that. And so you would come out like spending so much money to go on the journey of learning a language. But since then, they have dramatically decreased the cost of the app. And another thing that I hated was that you always had to pay for each language individually, and that used to kill me because I used to want to practice Russian, then I would want to practice German, then I would want to practice Portuguese, but that was really, really expensive back in the day. But now, and I think this is really, really recent, I think this just happened, they have it now to where you pay one price and you get all the languages forever. And I'm just like, why didn't they have this? Even now, like, I have Arabic that I've paid for up until the end of this year. And so I was like, I've already paid for my subscription for the entire year for Arabic, and I don't even get the benefits because I'm not one of those people I'm going to pay double. I'm just not that way. I'm too cheap for that. But it's just one of those things. I think it's the company moving in the right direction. And what they'll probably do is they'll probably start paying or charging people for the subscription to the app, because I think what they do now is they do the computer software that you can have forever and use it for whatever language, but what they charge for now mostly is access to the app, access to the online lessons, and having a tutor and all that kind of stuff. But with that being said, that's just one of the things that I thought off the top of my head. I'm gonna do see if I can find a quick review lesson so you can see what the app looks like. I mean, the app is much more simpler than Duolingo in terms of its offerings, I guess. Like, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles. It's very straightforward. But each unit or each level, I say, is broken up into several different units. And so you have a bunch of units to get through before you finish a certain level. So like with some languages, with Rosetta Stone, I've finished, like, I think the furthest I've gotten with any language is Russian in terms of my studies with Rosetta Stone. I've used it for German, and I've also used it for Arabic now. I didn't get too far in German. It's kind of one of those things, it's like you really have to be motivated. And I think once you get to a place like me, I'm like studying languages now that I find to be more exotic and difficult, because they are the things that get my brain excited for learning, I guess you can say. And so learning a language like Arabic, where there's no Latin alphabet, even the numbers are written different, it is exciting, but it's just like, it's difficult to stay consistent with Rosetta Stone because I think it's because the lessons are a bit longer and there's less positive feedback, if you will. Like, sometimes I don't feel like I've won anything when I'm doing Rosetta Stone, but I will say it's effective. So let me do a quick review so you can see what it's like. I'm just going to do a review so you can see what it looks like on the app. Okay. وداعا. مرحبا. أخضر. Really? I've completely forgotten these things. أحمر. أبيض. أزرق. أسود. أصفر. And I guess one of the things that you can think about is there's never a translation. I remember when I was doing Russian for the first time, like, they weren't giving any translation to what you were doing, and I was like, okay, I don't know what, and I had studied the lesson like several times, and I was constantly getting it right, but I still didn't know what I was talking about. So one day I broke down and I put it into Google Translate and I figured it out. But that's one of the things. So similarly to Duolingo, sometimes I think for the app, the writing is too small with Arabic. I mean, the nuances of Arabic are so intricate to me. Maybe it's just because I just don't speak Arabic, but like the little squiggles, the little characters, sometimes you can easily miss with it being so small. But I think that's a thing depending on the language. So those are some basic language skills that you learn in the early stages of Rosetta Stone. A lot of it is like, you know, ABC 1, 2, 3, colors, numbers, all those kind of things. And I remember I was really frustrated one time when I was using Rosetta Stone to learn Russian. I was like, I'm just learning like all this stuff that babies learn. And then one of my friends who was Russian was like, well, you know, that's kind of how language learning works. Like when you start out, you always start out with stuff that's like really useless and things like that. But I did notice that Rosetta Stone also now in their app, they have this space to where you can set your preferences to whatever you want to focus your learning on. So if you want to learn more of colloquial phrases or useful phrases for business, if you want to practice Rosetta Stone for building a relationship with a family member and learning those kind of phrases that revolve around house life and all those kind of things, you can target your app to those settings. So I think that's a big plus for it, using Rosetta Stone as well, if you want to skip all of the other stuff. Yeah, that's my general peek into Rosetta Stone. I would say some of the major pros of using Rosetta Stone is that it has great pronunciation. You can't get that really anywhere else. I think it feels very authentic. And also the speech recognition for when you have to talk into the app, it really corrects your speech to make you sound as native as possible. I think that's key and fundamental to whenever learning another language. You can have an amazing repertoire of words, but if you don't pronounce them well, people in the native countries will not understand you. And so it's kind of like going to be a waste of time because you speaking all these words, but nobody can understand what you're saying. The accent and getting those things down is very important. And so I think Rosetta Stone is leaps and bounds ahead of anybody else in that department. It's a formula they've been working on for so long that they've really perfected the craft. Some of the other pros is that there is a compatible computer software that you can use, which makes the screen a lot bigger, and it also gives you the opportunity to practice your writing skills. And I think it's easier and better to read on the computer than it is on the app, so having that cross compatibility helps as well, and also saving your information, so when you move from a computer and move to the app, you don't lose anything in the process. I think that's a big pro of using Rosetta Stone as well. And then the cons are sometimes the lessons are a bit long. It's kind of like sitting in class but not being in class. And when you're using an app that's more focused to productivity, you want it to be efficient and short and fun, in my opinion. And so I think that would be a con, is it's not much buy-in, not much energy, not as entertaining as another app like Duolingo, and also that it's not free. That's going to be a big hurdle or a big burden to some people, but now it's gotten so cheap. I think it's totally worth. I think it's $150 for all the languages forever, and so I think that makes it a little bit more valuable in a sense. And I know that's what I'm gonna do after I finish my year of Arabic, because I'm not gonna lose out on paying that, and I'm not gonna pay extra. I don't think. I might be tempted to see and just go back into it. That's how I feel about the apps. So that's Rosetta Stone in a nutshell. If you have any more feedback, if you have your own experiences of studying Arabic, please let me know. Leave it in the bottom. It's helped me a lot, and I think it will help a lot of other people as well. Leave it in the comments below. If you hated it, also let me know that as well, because I mean, it's a learning community and I want to share my knowledge and have everybody share their own stories as well. So don't forget to subscribe, leave a like. If you don't like it, we'll have extreme global warming in the next year. So do it for the human race. Leave a like. I'm out of here. Goodbye.